And welcome back to Eyewitness Newsmakers, your special election headquarters. Our guest this segment, Sue Henry, Republican candidate for the 121st District here in Luzerne County. And Sue, first of all, the easiest question, tell our viewers and possible voters about your background and who you are.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. I have lived in Luzerne County since I went to college at King's. I thought I would go somewhere else, but I stayed right after college, and I've been here all along. I've been in the media for most of my life. I have been in the media for 34 years, although I recently left the media. I was a talk show host for WILK. And when I left there, I didn't really have a plan to get into politics at all, but people came to me almost immediately and they said, based on your background, as I said, I've been in the media for a long time. I know I've been following issues. I'm an adjunct professor at King's College, so I'm still on the campus all these years later. I manage the college radio station WRKC. So all these things have given me a lot of time to talk to people about their thoughts and concerns. So taking on this task was not as unexpected as you might think.
So what is your top priority as you're out there campaigning for office?
My top priority is doing something about the burdensome property tax situation to fund our schools. I don't believe that I'm trying to stop children from being educated. That is not my intent. My intent is to find a different way to pay for it. A lot of people have paid for decades to fund the schools. When is enough enough? Is my question on that. So that has become my top priority based on what people have said to me that they'd like to see.
What will you do to reduce state income taxes and reform property taxes? It's sort of what your follow-up to what you just talked about.
Well, I think that there is a plan in place that Harrisburg has been lukewarm on, but I think should heat up on. There are two pieces of legislation. There's House Bill 76 and there's Senate Bill 76. Both of these bills would eliminate school property taxes. How would they do it? I know you want to know, so I'm going to tell you how they would do it. There would be an expansion in the state sales tax from 6% to 7%. That would mean that more people would help us to fund the school systems. It seems to make sense. There'd also be a modest increase in the wage tax, and there would be an expansion of taxes on some services. This is a plan that's called revenue neutral, so that means that whatever is taken away from property taxes would be replaced by different taxes.
So do you or do you not support an oil and gas severance tax?
That is a very complicated issue. Right now, as you know, there's an impact fee, and last year there was almost $210 million collected in an impact fee, and a lot of that money goes back to the communities that are affected, or I guess impacted, by the Marcellus Shale drilling. So those areas are receiving money. If there was a severance tax, my concern is that that tax would affect people whose property is being drilled upon, and I guess there are contracts in place, and that those contracts stipulate that there may be some tax consequence for people who are allowing this drilling to take place on their property. That does concern me. I'm not opposed to looking at it, but at the same time, I want people to be aware there is something now called an impact fee that is collected on the Marcellus Shale industry. And like I said, last year it was $210 million. That's a nice chunk of change.
Do you support, on the same vein, do you support possibly legalizing marijuana to earn revenue for the state?
Another very complicated question. We know that Pennsylvania has recently waded into medical cannabis. We know that they have taken that particular step. I would like to see how that unfolded. In some other places, medical cannabis has been rolled out, and then recreational marijuana has been legalized, and the medical cannabis industry is impacted very severely by that. So I'd like to see a little bit more about how this is playing out across the country. I would never rule it out, never. I think we need to look at everything. The other thing that concerns me about that is, where does the money go, and will there be a treatment component? Because addiction, as you know, where we live, is a very serious issue. And I would like to make sure that that we address addiction and not somehow make it worse by delving into recreational marijuana without making sure that we have everything done in a way where we've looked at the research to see where it stands.
Jobs are always on people's minds. How do we attract jobs here, and how do we retain businesses here?
The business tax in Pennsylvania is almost 10%. It's 9.99. That's almost 10%. And I think that we need to look at that very seriously. If you can't get businesses to come here in the first place, then we're never going to be able to keep our kids here. And this is an issue for people because we educate our kids in Pennsylvania, and then we export our kids. And I think that we need to be more cognizant of that kind of taxing. So we have to make sure that we have the carrot and the stick, that we have the carrot, the attraction of businesses, and then we have the ability to employ more people or attract people from across the country to come to Pennsylvania, which is an absolutely beautiful state that we all love. We've been here for a long time and we love it.
And Sue, last question, we'd like you to address the camera.
Okay.
And tell the folks in this district, why should they support Sue Henry for the State House?
I've spent a lot of time talking to individuals about issues, and I think that I have a lot of information that maybe other people don't have because I listen very well, and people have talked to me. Property tax elimination is essential to me. Addressing the addiction problem is very important to me, and the quality of life where we live is extremely important to me. These are the three issues that I've been talking about with people in northeastern Pennsylvania. And in my district, the 121st, I think that we could do great work together as a team if you do elect me.
Well, Sue Henry, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to learn more about Sue Henry, we have more information on pahomepage.com. We're under the Newsmakers and local election headquarters link, and we'll be right back.